Welcome to the R.E.D Network, where real estate dads juggle the high-stakes hustle of their careers with the heartwarming chaos of family life. Whether you're closing deals, changing diapers, or chasing dreams, we've got you covered. Join us for stories, strategies, and laughs as we navigate the perfect balance between hustle and home. The R.E.D Network, where real life meets real estate.
Welcome back to the R.E.D Network, where we are constantly balancing hustle and home. Today's guest brings a powerful blend of grit, service, and family-centered purpose to everything he does. Cale Iorg is a former pro baseball player turned mission-driven entrepreneur, literally. After earning All-American honors in high school and All-SEC freshman accolades at the University of Alabama, Cale stepped away from the game to serve a 2-year mission in Portugal, becoming fluent in Portuguese and rising to leadership roles within his mission. Not long after returning, he was drafted by the Detroit Tigers and spent 6 years chasing the big league dream until shoulder injuries pivoted his path. But as you'll hear, that pivot didn't slow him down. Cale built a standout career in the mortgage industry with Supreme Lending and Cross Country Mortgage before stepping into the team leader role at Keller Williams Music City, where he continues to lead with discipline, passion, and service-first mindset. Married to his college sweetheart since 2009 and a dad to 4 amazing kids, Cale's story is one of balancing hustle and home in the most inspiring ways. Let's get into it. Cale, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it, Jason. Thanks, man.
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking a little time with me in between prepping for Snowmageddon that we have coming up.
All good. 0 to 18 inches. So
all week. It's been a whole guessing game for us.
Yeah,
it's
all right.
Whenever it first popped up, we had a gymnastics meet scheduled in Lebanon, and we were going to have to kind of divide and conquer, my wife and I. Gymnastics meets scheduled in Lebanon. My daughter was going to go on Saturday. My wife was coaching on Sunday, and my son had a basketball game in Bethesda down here, and that was Saturday about the same time. So we're trying to figure out what our schedule's looking like. We're seeing 3 inches of snow. We're from Indiana, not a huge deal. We're seeing 18 inches of snow. Okay, that's a little different. And then 36 would pop up on social media, and it's man, I don't even know what to do. And then both things got canceled, so it's all good. And now we're just going to go sledding.
No doubt. Should be fun. We'll get something. Maybe.
We'll get something. Time will tell. And also, when does it start? Is it starting tonight at midnight? I've heard that. Is it starting tomorrow at some point? Is it just going to be rain? We have no idea.
Yeah. My wife's a teacher. So, you ever see a 10-year-old kid on Christmas morning? That's what a teacher looks like when there's snow in the forecast.
Oh, man.
So she's
ready. Bring it on. They're ready for the break. So, man, a lot of really cool stuff to go over today. So let's talk about baseball first. I played baseball until second grade. So I've never been a huge baseball guy, more football. And until my son got into baseball, and then I became a big baseball guy. And it's funny how kids change things for you like that. When did you get started? At what age did you start playing baseball? When was it man, this is it. I love this game. I really want to do this maybe professionally. When did it all start?
Day one.
Okay, birth. Got it.
So my dad played 9 years with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Cool.
I was born 1985, September 6th, in the middle of a playoff pennant, right?
Wow.
And when I would I'll cut forward to when I was playing in AAA with the Detroit Tigers in Toledo, Ohio. There was a woman named Fran who was the super fan. And I remember my first year getting called up to Toledo. I'm walking out of the tunnel, and she's like, Cale. So I'm, introduced myself to her. She's me. She goes, I was listening. She goes, I'm from Toronto. I remember your dad. She goes, I was listening to the radio broadcast when they said, welcome to the world, the newest Toronto Blue Jay, Cale Iorg.
Wow.
I'd say from day one, it was day one. So my dad was 2. I was 2 when my dad retired. And just a couple short years after that, he got directly into coaching.
Okay.
Family from California all moved to Florida, where the spring training is for the Blue Jays. And we just followed my dad throughout his career. Ended up in Knoxville, Tennessee when he was managing AA for the Blue Jays at the time in Tennessee. And my parents fell in love with Tennessee, so we stayed as his career kept going on. So I grew up literally and figuratively, in a baseball locker room.
Wow.
It was to spend time with my dad and my brothers, was to go to the ballpark early with my dad. And, my dad's doing stuff, obviously. So he would hang out with us boys for a little bit, hit us ground balls, hit with them. But the rest of it was just, you got to go out and you got to just be at the field. So it was like the greatest life of all time.
I was going to say, what was that like? Because to me, a boy, growing up in the sports world, you get to grow up at the facilities and things like that. It sounds awesome, but I'm sure that there's some pieces that were kind of tough as well.
Definitely some pieces that are tough, because baseball's a long season. Mm-hmm. So the parts in time where your dad's just gone for a long time.
Yeah.
So that was always hard. But I guess being born into it, like that's all I ever knew. So at the same time, it's kind of normal, but awesome. I mean, in AA, I got to take ground balls with Alex Rodriguez before he was Alex Rodriguez.
Wow.
I'm 8 years old. My dad's like, see that guy out there? He's going to be the next amazing baseball player. Go out there and take ground balls with him.
Wow.
I was in Knoxville when Michael Jordan came through, right? And my older brother, you talk about an entrepreneur. My older brother had like one of those guys that, as a kid, 10, 11, 12 years old, no shame, just going and bringing a dozen balls to Michael. Hey, can you sign these, getting the signatures? And then game starts and we're in the stands just like, hey, who wants a Michael Jordan ball?
Oh, man, that's awesome.
It was awesome. And the list goes on of players that, you and I would have grown up being like, these guys are all world. And we got to see them in AA, AAA. And it was a great way to live, man. Like the perfect way to grow up. It was awesome.
That is awesome, man. And I think, people see them on TV or from the stands, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, hockey, it doesn't matter. And they are kind of put on a pedestal, but, really they're just a bunch of dudes that are, very either bigger, stronger, faster, can throw farther, whatever. And whenever you're around them, you're like, oh man, you're just like me. This is great. And I trained a lot of professional athletes in my previous life whenever I was a sports performance coach. And so, being around some of these guys and girls that are the, star athletes in their field, and they're just like you and me, and they are just very athletic,
Just very athletic. They've perfected a craft. No matter what you do, you've got to really hone in on it. And some people are just naturally gifted. But they're normal people. I mean, if you remember Carlos Delgado,
mm-hmm.
At 10 years old, I was convinced that he was my best friend.
Yeah.
And that says a lot about him entertaining a 10-year-old
to think feel that way.
His best friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was amazing. Again, amazing way to grow up. And obviously, when you grow up like that, it was only natural for me to think, this is going to be my career. So I didn't think of, I may make it to the pros or I may get drafted. It was like that was already the career path chosen.
Yeah. This is what I'm doing.
And there's no, burn the boats, if you will. Like this is all I'm kind of focusing on.
Yeah.
And it came to reality and didn't end the way I wanted it to or never expected it to go that way. But that's okay. Life goes on and there are better things for it and it's all good.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that was going to be my next question is like, when did you know, and it sounds like also day one, that this is what I wanted to do as well. Were you one of the best, like just kind of, because you've got all the practice, you got obviously the genetics, you've got the atmosphere of success.
Yeah.
Did you always excel in baseball?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be like super arrogant, but I was always very good. I was very good at baseball.
Yeah.
And I was very good at football and I was okay at basketball, but and that goes with, yes, genetics. Yes. I was born into the game, but more so than that, I had two older brothers. So it's trying to hang with your two older brothers. Survival, man. So by the time I was finally playing like legitimately organized baseball, I'm 12, 13 years old. It felt like cake because I'd been playing with my brothers who are 15, 16, 17 and, catching from them, taking ground balls from them, trying to hit off of them. So that definitely prepared me at a young age to when I got with my competition, it was like,
you've been playing up the entire time.
Yeah, this is easy. You know what I mean? Like I was 9 years old, shagging fly balls at pregame BP and like catching everything. Yeah, it was awesome.
That's great. We, it's been a little bit different for us because, my daughter's 11 going on 12. My son's 9, just turned 9 in November. I wasn't a baseball guy, right? He didn't grow up around baseball players. We didn't, practice baseball whenever he was 2, 3, 4 years old, right? And but we're wanting to get into it with all his friends. And so we start him off, and he was so bad, not good at all, and doing the little T-ball leagues and everything, but having fun,
Yeah.
and he'd cry going out to practice. I don't want to go. And then,
No doubt.
he'd have a great time. And
Yeah.
it'd be different if it was like, no, he legitimately hates this, but every time he's out there, he's having fun. But then of course, whenever we're wanting to go to practice, then it's a whole thing. But then as you get older and this, you've been there, it starts to become more competitive. And baseball is one of those sports where, like, a lot of time these guys are practicing. I don't know if it was like this when you were younger, but it's very much like this now where, they're playing all year long and reps and reps and reps. And if you're not, then you kind of get left behind.
It could definitely feel that way for sure. And I was a sophomore in high school. My dad quit coaching for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Mm-hmm.
So again, time I was born to sophomore in high school, my dad was involved with professional sports and professional baseball. So when I'm kind of like in 8th grade, him and a group of guys in Knoxville approach my dad and say, we want to build an indoor baseball facility and we want to put your name on it. We want you to kind of run it. We'll manage it. We want you to run it. So again, if I wasn't at the baseball stadium, I'm at this indoor facility playing all the time. And that's just when, summer ball was obviously already big, but
Mm-hmm.
as I was getting into high school, if you've ever heard of Perfect Game,
Yeah.
Perfect Game was really just starting. And
Okay.
East Cobb baseball, summer baseball was like the mecca where everybody went to play baseball.
Yeah.
You look at it now, and I can't help to kind of feel like the old grumpy old man, like, get off my lawn. Like, I think youth sports are being completely ruined
Mm-hmm.
by summer and travel ball. I think that there's this pressure that, and like everything else, it's monetized. So people aren't stupid. It's very much a business. It's not about the kids. It's about the money. Because when you're pushing 9, 10-year-olds to play all year long and feel like you can't just play rec sports, like my son's 8 and he played fall baseball. And it's like, I'm keeping him in fall baseball for a couple of reasons. One, that's just where it's fun. And if you're that age, the goal should be, I want to play next year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a win if all these kids just want to keep playing the sport and having fun with their friends. When you get mature and your body's starting to develop and you're starting to notice I'm adding on muscle and I actually can control my body from an athletic standpoint, if you want to start getting serious about it, then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
When we've got kids that are, under 14 years of age and they're playing year round and now families, like, you pick up a second job to fund the travel ball, and gymnastics is like that, and volleyball, and cheerleading, and there's nothing that's just rec anymore. And I think that's a little bit of a shame. I'm all for people chasing the dream.
Yeah.
But we can push that to 14, 15, right? It doesn't have to be at 10.
Right. No, I completely agree. And that's the challenge that we run into is, like, I think that there's a lot of value in playing multiple sports until you have to
100%.
kind of pick one, And at some point, if you want to play college baseball, you're probably going to need to just focus on baseball in high school, right? And or have it be your primary and maybe play some secondary sports, right?
Yeah.
But like not at 7, 8, 9. And what we were running into is, we would play fall baseball, and then we'd do flag football in the spring, and he had rec basketball in the winter, and then you've got your buddies and you want to play with your buddies, right?
Yeah.
But then if your buddies are on like a travel team or we've got the open leagues, so it's like the in between travel and rec. You still do tournaments and stuff. You got to be a little better. And there's tryouts, and not everybody makes it. And Carter tried one year and he didn't make it. And he hadn't played for like 4 months, 5 months. And so you can't just pick up a bat. And these kids just got done with a tournament last weekend, right?
Right.
And he was pretty upset. And I told him, I was like, buddy, here's the deal. Like, we just didn't put enough pennies in the piggy bank for you to be able to do this. Like, we have the piggy bank analogy where, like, if you want anything, if you want to buy something, if you want to win something, if you want to make a team, like, you have like little tokens, and if you put enough tokens in the piggy bank, then you're going to get whatever you want, right? So if you want to make a baseball team, here's how many tokens it's going to take to make the baseball team. And those kids have been putting tokens in all year long, and they made the baseball team. We put tokens in the fall.
At the very end.
Not enough tokens this year. But if this is something that you want to do, I'll get you a hitting coach. We will throw in the backyard every day. We'll get some stuff that we can play upstairs with. And like, I think you'll make the team next. And he said that's what he wanted to do. And he made the team the next time. So he was super pumped. And so but you can't just go out anymore and play because you won't make the team with all your buddies who have been playing all year long.
My daughter, my oldest, is a freshman in high school. And she played softball in Georgia, took a couple years off to play tennis. And it was just me throwing a tennis ball to my kid a couple months ago in the middle of the street one day after work. And she hit 2 and she's like, I want to play softball again. Mm-hmm. So she played fall softball. Now she wants to try out for the high school softball team in February.
Yeah.
And it's a bummer because one, the girls, she's been blessed. Like she's got the gift. The way she can hit a baseball, like she's got it. You know what I mean? Or I should say softball.
Yeah.
But it's a bummer because now you got all these people saying, oh, well, like the team's pretty much already made because all these girls have been playing summer ball and travel ball together for the last 5-6 years. So you look at that and you go, that's crappy.
It sucks. Yeah.
It's a sucky situation because one, she's very talented. And it's like, you're telling me she's already doesn't have a chance before you even get to the thing. You know,
right.
And by contrast, one of my third daughter, Josie's playing basketball, and the coach who I coach with on the basketball team, his daughter's on softball. Last week they had softball tryouts, and he goes, we're trying out, we're doing travel ball this year because we're going to try to take these girls from 9 all the way through high school.
Yeah.
Like, cool. I'm all for it. But again, now my daughter's the one on the outside because these girls have been doing that. Now there's not a place for her, even though she's really good at softball.
It sucks. Yeah, it's just such a weird. And I grew up in the middle of nowhere, Indiana. Like we did not have this. Like it was, hey, you want to play football? Cool. Like here's a bunch of used equipment. Go pick it out on a Saturday. Right. And the season starts, and hopefully you get a couple of your buddies on your team, but it's kind of random. Same thing for basketball. You got the T-shirt, jersey, and then same thing for baseball. And this is serious business. And so like you're even having to schedule around, like Carter wants to do tackle football whenever he's in 4th grade. Sammy's like, let's wait till 5th. But we're already having to think, okay, well, if he's doing tackle football, they practice 3 times a week. And I don't know that we could do the open league for baseball and that. So now do we just do rec baseball in the fall because you still have to do something or else you have to go do the spring.
Right.
It's just a whole thing. But I mean, I could talk about that for the entire episode. So we'll put a pin in the youth sports for now. You obviously you have success in baseball and then you step away and go to Portugal. What happened there?
So I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. So faith and has always been a big aspect and big part of my life and who I am. And serving a mission as a young man is something that we get the honor and the privilege to do if we so choose to do it. And I knew at a young age this is what I wanted to do. Despite there being a lot of pressure, you talk about high school. I got pulled out of high school my senior year weekly to have interviews with the Cincinnati Reds, the New York Mets, the Yankees, Boston. And I'm going up to the field and hitting for people. And at 18 years old, it's all I really ever wanted to do. And you've got this scout and area scouts and even sometimes GMs calling up your parents being like, if he doesn't go on a mission, we're going to draft him in the 1st round. Like, does he know that? And even when going to college and starting to get through the recruiting process, there's some big schools that I really wanted to go to. And it was like, well, you can come here, but if you're going to go on a mission, we're going to have to pass up on that. And very grateful that Alabama was one of the schools that said, hey, if you come here and play for a year and decide to go on a mission, we're cool with it. So I did. And it was awesome. My mission is aside from like marriage and kids, it's the greatest experience of my life. I met some amazing people, had some amazing experiences. The way I describe a mission is you've got every emotion, and I got to experience every spectrum of that emotion, whether it's happy, lonely, sad, cold, hot, miserable, elated, right? Like you just got to experience it all. And 2 years of really growing up from the age of 19 to 21, being in a different country, not necessarily on your own, but you feel like you're on your own and getting to talk about something that means a lot to me, which is my Savior, Jesus Christ, and getting to share that with people. And so you get into a professional world now. Is it really that difficult to talk to someone about real estate?
Not at all. No.
Talking to someone about, the church stuff or gospel related stuff in a different language, like this is cakewalk compared to that.
Yeah, that's awesome. 2 years in a foreign country. And I imagine, you're probably not staying in the Four Seasons while you're down there.
No, not at all. Yeah. I mean, Portugal's a wonderful country, but yeah, it wasn't that. It was fun. I didn't even bring a baseball with me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, didn't even bring a glove. About a year into my mission, I wrote home and said, "Hey, I got a pretty cool companion here. He's like an athletic guy. His parents are going to send him his glove. Like, I said, send me my glove and I need one ball." And so I would throw a couple mornings or whatever with this guy. And I remember the last time I threw it a little bit high and he hit off top his glove and it went through the back window of a car.
Oh, yikes. How'd that go?
And had to repay the window and the ball went into the woods and we couldn't find it again. So that was it. And then
dang it.
Ended up getting drafted while I was still on my mission and got home and went right into pro ball.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you get drafted, while you're on your mission, you get back home. Was it tough to get back? I mean, 2 years and limited baseball reps during that period of time.
Yeah.
Was that tough to get back integrated into I'm a baseball player?
Yeah, it was for sure. Cause like it's like the reverse culture shock.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden you're back in the United States and there's all this stuff that we have here and being in professional baseball again. But the world, you'd be surprised how quick the world changes in 2 years.
Yeah.
I remember getting home and watching the ESPYs and being like, is this the future?
Yeah.
Like who's this Devin Hester guy that returns every kick for a touchdown? Yeah. All the weird things that I just missed out on. I just shouldn't say missed out, but didn't notice for 2 years. So it was hard getting back into it for sure. Sometimes very frustrating because you're like, I'm used to doing these things and my body's not necessarily reacting. But I will say that, my mission is not the reason why I didn't make it to the major leagues. It was, I just kept getting injured and couldn't get it right. And ultimately it just wasn't in the cards and that's okay.
Yeah. And with that, like, was it tough? And how do I put this? So like whenever you come back and we're back in America, you're at baseball. There's just different things that people say are important. And you've seen a lot more than most people have seen. You've done a lot more than most people have seen and things that actually matter.
Yeah.
Was it difficult for you kind of going back into this, this new world again and just be like, this isn't like, none of this matters. Like this isn't a big deal. And like things that people are making a big deal in the grand scheme of things after 2 years in Portugal, just being like, this is not that important.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where I kind of say it's like the reverse culture shock and great parents, great family. So I kind of always saw my dad and heard him talk that like baseball is what I do. That's not really who I am.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not a baseball player. My identity is not defined if I make it or don't make it in the major leagues and have this long career, make a bunch of money. That was never really like the benchmark of success. Now, did I want to do those things? Of course, because that was a dream.
Yeah.
Naturally. But you're definitely right. It's things get put into perspective a little bit more. Now, when you're in the thick of baseball and it becomes more than a game, it's now a business and you're trying to make it. Yeah, you get caught up in this stuff and the same frustrations and disappointments that come with a professional sport and not performing how you want to perform. Yeah. That's all very, very, very frustrating. But at the end of the day, what makes it a little bit easier to say like that chapter's closed and a new chapter's there, it's because I always knew that baseball wasn't my identity.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great way to put that. And I've heard it in other areas, but it's what I do. It's not who I am.
Yeah.
And kind of tying things back to the kids again, talked about gymnastics and baseball and like all these different sports and stuff. We recently just had this conversation with our daughter, Katie, of, she's very hard on herself. And, my wife and I, we're very competitive. We're very driven people, two peas in a pod. And we have a standard that we hold ourselves to, but we're not those crazy parents that are like, hey, you better get perfect 10s or else. And like we try to really hammer in that, listen, like you're the most important thing, the reason why we're proud of you is that you're a good person. You're kind and you help people and you're a good teammate and, you're a good, human being versus how you perform, on a baseball field, on a balance beam, things like that. And, making sure that it's like, baseball or gymnastics is what I do. It's not who I am because that can eat you alive. That can be very tough. So
that's where I think like almost like a little bit of depression starts to set in. And then we use that word pressure a lot in sports, right? And whether you're in business or whatever, pressure is just this expectation that we've put on ourselves that something has to have a certain outcome or else it's a failure.
Yeah.
Right? And I hate that. So you're right. I wish I could go back and talk to myself during baseball, because the talks that I have with my kids about sports is what, like, I say the things that I really needed to hear.
Yeah.
Because I did get lost in between the ears of like, this is the most important thing. And like, if I don't get a hit, it's all over and it's all ruined. And that's when you're struggling, it gets harder and harder. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But I'm with you that, yes, being a good person, I talk to them all the time, be a really, really good teammate. You can control that,
Yeah.
right? Can't really control, especially in baseball. You hit the ball very hard. There's 8 people out there that could catch it.
Yeah.
So we're all talking about results all the time. Then it's easy to get frustrated with things other than just work hard and have fun. This is a game. You're here to have fun.
It's supposed to be fun. That's the first thing. Every practice, every game, anytime we're doing hitting lesson, private for gymnastics or any. The very next thing I say as soon as we get in the car is, "Did you have fun?"
Yeah.
Because like if the answer is no, I can spend my money and our time on so many different things.
Yeah.
Than a hitting lesson or a private gymnastics lesson. We could go to the beach weekly. On what we spend on all of these things. And so the second that it's not fun, then let's go do something that's fun. Like, we're not here for that long.
No doubt.
So let's do something fun, because there's no point in, beating a dead horse here. So then injuries, unfortunately, in the baseball career earlier than what you would have liked. Did you move directly into mortgage from there?
I did. So really long story short, I'd made a contact with a guy who kind of owned or ran the Supreme office in Atlanta, if you will. Yep. And he and I got connected in October of 2012.
Okay.
He calls me and says, "Hey, I know who you are. I know you play baseball, but if baseball doesn't work out, I would love to hire you. Athletes are competitive, you're driven, you're self-motivated, all these attributes you're going to need for the mortgage business, and you'll do great." And I get off the phone and I'm like, I don't care. I'm a baseball player. Like, that was the most whatever conversation. 8 months later, I'm calling him up saying, "Hey, I just left the doctor's office. Like,
I'm not a baseball player anymore.
Like, I'm going on a 3-day road trip. I'm coming home after that. So how about that mortgage thing?" Mm-hmm. And turned out to be, again, a very huge blessing that I had that connection and I could go from one into the other, because that kept me out of a very dark place, because it did feel like a failure when sports ended immediately. But yeah, I got a wife, I got a baby. There's no time for that. Let's go launch the new career. And this is just a new opportunity. I'm going to throw myself in it. And it was a great career that I got to be a part of.
So you were married and then you had your first child whenever you left baseball?
We had our first daughter when I was still playing baseball.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
So I had the one, and then, the other ones came later.
Yeah. So we get into mortgage with Supreme Mortgage, moved over to Country, right?
So Supreme, I was with Supreme Lending for 10 and a half years,
okay.
Which is really how the whole Keller Williams connection was made. Keller's obviously a big company in Atlanta, and my company was strategically partnered with a lot of Kellers in Atlanta. And my career kind of grew from being the junior LO to basically like being a producing branch manager for the company and in leadership, and ran different accounts for Keller Williams. So this is where I like God just has his hand, and he's playing chess with our lives all the time and making moves and putting us in the right spots if we just allow it, and making some of the connections so that when my wife and I decided to move to Nashville to be closer to family, it's like one of those connections would end up meeting Sarah, who owns our offices here. And guy says, "Hey, you need to talk to this guy in Nashville who just moved there." And here I am at Keller Williams, which is where, honestly, as a partner with Keller for so many years, I would sit in the back of the room listening to team leaders at team meeting and be like, I want that job.
Yeah.
I would love to have that job. I think I could be good at it. And I'm thrilled that the opportunity came my way.
Well, man, and whenever you think about God, putting those pieces in play and playing chess and all of those things, a lot of things has to happen for those things to line up.
Yeah.
But then also, being able to capitalize off of that. And whenever we spoke, as soon as I got off the phone, I talked to Sarah, and she's like, "What do you think?" And I was like, if you don't hire him, then somebody's going to, because I can't think of a better fit. It was just very clear. I think, like you talked about, somebody in sales in general, in any field, I think you really have an advantage if you've been an athlete before, because you have that drive, you have that grit, that competitiveness, things like that. But then also, whenever you think of like values, and for Keller Williams, it's faith, family, then business.
Yeah.
Right? And so God, family, business. and it lines up, right?
It does line up. Yeah. Sports are great. And that's why I want my kids to play sports, and not with the intent that you got to go to college, you have to be a pro, but just you learn so many lessons
Yep.
and valuables. And, the more you and I are around each other, you'll hear, I almost can't talk in front of people without referencing something from sports because there's so many lessons to take from it. Like it never ends. It's amazing.
That's exactly why. I mean, would I love for our kids to be professional athletes? Absolutely. I don't know that my heart could handle it because I'd probably have a heart attack at some point. Like just even watching a 11-year-old girl at a gymnastics meet, you'll hear my wife's watch start beeping because it goes from like 67 beats per minute to like 167 beats per minute.
Yeah, I can imagine, man.
And like all of my footage of where I'm trying to record her like events, the camera's kind of shaky because I'm like it's terrible. It's absolutely awful, but it's at the same time. But the reason why I think it's so important, and you kind of touched on it already, is like all the things that you learn during that time. Like, yes, it's fun to win. It's great to get rings and championships. It would be awesome if you're a professional someday and you get to make a lot of money playing a game. But the amount of lessons that are learned during your time in sports, the adversity, like being a teammate, like all these different things, like you just can't really simulate that. Like my wife and I, we grew up in kind of middle of nowhere, Indiana, rural areas. I think a lot of the reason why we're where we are today is just because of the work ethic that we got during that time. And, you had to have that. And our kids don't exactly grow up in that same environment. And it's a pretty cush life that they've got. And how do you make sure that they're not entitled, soft human beings, adults that grow up? And I think that's through sports. I think it's through losing. I think it's through getting hurt and then, callousing and, things like that, because then you're going to be a successful adult, even though you didn't have to kind of come up from the bottom.
Sports are the last line of defense because you're right. Everything in life has been designed and fabricated and reworked again to simplify our lives and make them easy. Yeah. Right. So you're right. I'm dead on with you. Sports is like our last line of defense of keeping our kids, or giving them like tough lessons and work ethic and things that are important and necessary to develop.
Yeah. 100%. Now you've got, you played football growing up. And then you've got one son. How many boys do you have?
So I have 3 girls. And then our last little surprise was my son.
Yeah. Would you let your son play tackle football?
So he is so into football right now, like obsesses over it. We do routes in our living room every day. We got go route, curl, and then in route that he works on every day, and he tries to catch 10 out of 10. So he is obsessed, and he is dead set. He's only 8 years old. He is dead set that in the fall he wants to play tackle football.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. There's like obviously the reservations because you're going to get hurt. And honestly, he's like, he takes after my wife. He's a petite little guy. Mm-hmm. So I worry about him. Yeah. But again, at the same time, got to make the kid tough. So if we teach him the right way and you can be as protective as you can, I guess. But I'm like leaning towards, let's go. Let's get you in there and mix it up and see if you like it. If you like it and you have fun, great. But if it's not for you, it's not for you. We move on. But he loves it. So.
It's not for everybody, right? Because I had friends growing up that like their parents loved football and like wanted them to play football and like just hated it. Like hated getting hit, hated hitting other people. Like there's nothing, hated the heat, hated everything. Yeah. There was nothing about that was like, yeah, this is awesome. And like I loved it. Like I loved hitting people. I loved getting hit. I loved the heat. I loved 3 days, 2 days, everything. And like it's either in you or it's not, and either are okay. And I think people, so I've had multiple concussions, multiple different injuries, just like you, I'm sure. And so people will ask, and they're like, hey, you had multiple concussions. You see all the head stuff now that they're so adamant about in the NFL and college. Would you let your son play football, tackle football? It's like, yeah, I 100% would. Because one, you can get a concussion this weekend walking around the ice. Like
no doubt, man.
You can get a concussion playing baseball, basketball, soccer, you name it. I learned 100 times more playing football than I ever got hurt playing football. And, you're able to go out there and like you could get hurt. Like somebody is trying to actively hurt you.
No doubt.
And you have to be tough and you have to figure it out. And you also have to get burned on a play and then be able to come back and feel like you're the greatest the next play.
Sure.
And, or else you're going to get burned again. And so making sure that you have that toughness or callous that you're able to build up, and you're going to learn so much more than I think that risk might be. And that's just me, and it sounds like it's you as well. And if somebody else has a different opinion, that's totally fine. They got to do what's best for them. But I just think that there's too much to gain, and it would be a shame to not have them play.
For sure. And like you said, I don't care what you do, you're going to get hurt in something, right? So the risk versus reward, like the rewards are far too great than to worry about the risk. He's going to play. I'm very interested to see the first time he gets popped. What
I am too. I'm kind of. My wife's not, but I'm kind of interested too, because like his sister's, she'd probably be the one that'd be doing the popping. She's kind of crazy, but he's a lean guy too. And like whenever he said he wanted to play football next year, my daughter was like, "Well, buddy, you better bulk up a little bit." And it'll be interesting because he may do it, and you can always tell it's that first practice and first full pad, and then there's kids out there like, this is awesome, and there's others that are like, oh, I rolled my ankle, I need to sit out over here.
You sit this one out, coach.
Yeah. And I used to tell, we had our cross country route would go around our practice field, and I had friends that were on the cross country team, and I was like, man, I watch you guys run around there and I can't think of anything worse. That just looks terrible. And they're like, we're saying the same thing about you, dude. And so I used to tell the coach, I'd say, hey, I'm going to send a couple more over to you, because I just, you have kids that get popped and they're like, yeah, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And I'd rather just run cross country. So it'll be interesting to see how that reaction is.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, my son can shed a tear because his 9-year-old sister guarded him too closely. Right. So and these are life lessons that you have to learn.
It'll be fun to watch. It's challenging, but it'll be fun to watch. Kind of shifting back over to family again. You got married to college sweetheart. How'd you meet your wife?
Great story. I was at Alabama. My buddy and I on the baseball team, they had an exhibition basketball game. So we go to the game and the dance team comes out. So as any 19, 18-year-old boy, you're like looking at the college dance team, like who we got there. And I remember pointing to my buddy, I was like, you see that one? I said, that's the one. Facebook was brand new, had just started. It was only at select colleges. So I found out I found her name, found her on Facebook, and just started sending her the most ridiculous messages of all time. It stuck. We ended up dating a little bit in college. Again, I went on my mission for Portugal. So I disappeared for 2 years. Get back, I get right into professional baseball. And so about a year after being home, we finally got reconnected. And the rest is history. Here we are.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Man. Get married while you're playing professional baseball, have your first child, and 3 more after that, right? So you've got 4 kiddos, balancing new job as well in relatively new area.
For sure.
The tagline for the podcast is balancing hustle and home. How do you, Cale, balance hustle and home?
Oh, it's so hard. And I know you and I have talked offline about this a little bit, that anyone who thinks that they're going to multitask or balance things, it's like probably the biggest lie ever, right? And I remember one guy in church saying, hey, here's how you know if you have good balance. If everybody's mad at you for not spending enough time there, then you know you're okay. And he said it kind of tongue in cheek, but it's just so hard. I think it's just trying to be present. And the time that you have is the time that you make extremely valuable. Again, my dad was gone a lot, but I can never say growing up, like I felt like my dad was always gone.
Yeah.
Right? Because we talked, and the days that he was home, it was like all dad, and the off season, it was all dad. So because it felt like I had him all the time when he was home, and it wasn't like I'm chasing him down at home or he's gone all the time, it felt like I was around my dad a lot, even though I probably wasn't. Yeah. So making sure that I'm where my feet are at. If it's time to be in work, it's time to be at work. If it's time to be at home, it's time to be at home. And the work needs to just wait for a little bit. And I'm not perfect at that by no stretch. One of the things I pride myself on is being available for clients and being able to give people numbers. And if you need me, I'm here for you. So it's a balancing act for sure. And it's hard, but it's something that at least I go in consciously deciding that if I'm here, this is where I really need to be. It's very easy. I got my phone right. It's very easy to, my son's talking and I'm like this, right? And I catch myself and I hate that crap. My son was in, like I said, in fall ball and he was playing his coach pitch, but they had a kid by the pitcher, right? And I was on my phone and I'm so grateful that I put my phone down because 2 seconds later, this kid hits a rocket line drive out the middle. Son sticks his glove out and catches it.
Oh, nice.
I don't think his feet were on the ground for the next 3 innings, right?
Yeah.
But you can imagine he catches it. What's the first thing he does? He looks at me and mom, and I'm glad that I wasn't like this.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I was 2 seconds away from being like this. And I think about that all the time because I don't want to be like talking to dad and I'm always like this. And my wife will probably say, well, you are, but I try really hard not to. Yep. So I love my kids to death. I love them. I love them. I love being a dad. I think it's the greatest calling that we have as men in this world. That and of course a husband. But I mean, and the time is limited. I got a daughter in 3.5 years, man. She's going to college. And it's like yesterday she was born and today she's 15. And that's terrifying.
Yeah.
So just trying to be present to where they know if I need dad, I've got dad. That's how I think I try to balance it.
Well, I love that. I think it sounds like you and I are a lot alike in that aspect and it kind of goes back to, hey, here's how sports plays into things.
Yeah.
Is when you're up at the plate, you have to execute, right? And like you have to execute in that moment or else you're probably not going to have a very good game.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what you do after that. If you don't execute whenever you're up at the plate, then it's not going to be a good game. And if you execute at work, then guess what? You can say, hey, this is family time. Like we're at dinner. I'm watching my son's baseball game. I'm at my daughter's gymnastics meet because I executed at work whenever I was supposed to. Whenever I was up at the plate at work, I executed. And then whenever I'm not at the plate, I get to do what else I need to be executing on. If I'm at home and I'm executing at home, I'm being dad, I'm being husband, I'm playing out in the backyard, I'm not on my phone the whole time, or I'm watching the movie, I'm not on my phone at the whole time, or whatever we're doing as a family. Then if I'm executing there, hey, if a client does call, and this is maybe not the norm, maybe dad's not on the phone all the time, so oh my God, there's another call. But if it's something where it's like, hey buddy, I do need to go take this, or I need to step out, or we were on a cruise and I had a couple deals going. I need to run back to the room real quick. It's not, oh God, here we go again. This is so annoying. It's cool. We'll be here. No big deal. Like, cause it's not, they don't even notice because it's not a big deal because it's not the norm because you're executing at home when you're supposed to execute at home, you're executing at work when you're supposed to execute at work. When you don't have the discipline to do either, that's whenever things become then blurred and then everybody's pissed. Then we're not doing well at either one.
I think we've all probably been in a situation where we kind of knew we weren't the priority for somebody. So anytime you get kind of put on the back burner, slided, it's very easy to notice those things because like I'm not really even the priority anyway for this person. Mm-hmm. So like you said, with your kids, when you do have to take those moments where you call, because our industry is unique, it's not 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, right? It does spill over into weekends and nights. But people like your kids, I don't think your kids will ever not feel like the priority because you're executing with them when you're there. So they're rare that you do step out. It's okay because they know that they're a priority in my life.
Yep. And I always ask, it's very different. And it's something that a mentor of mine is actually the one that mentioned this. Because they did it too. And I'll always ask. So I'll say, hey, buddy, do you mind if I take this call? Because if he's like, no, actually, I need to tell you something. Okay, I'll call him back.
Yeah.
There's something in the brain whenever they're saying like, yeah, that's fine. Then it's okay because it's just this one time. And he gave me permission to do that, right? Because this is his time. I'm supposed to be with him or Katie or Sammy or, whatever we're doing. But like if they're like, yeah, that's fine, then okay, cool. But if it's not fine, I won't take it. I'll just call him back sometime. And
I'm
so
feeling that.
Having that permission. Another one that I got was I can't remember if it was Carter. I think it was Katie. I think Katie was up on. Our house has like a stairway up top. There's big windows in the stairs, and you can see where I park my Jeep whenever I pull up. And so if you're coming down the stairs, you can kind of see, oh, Dad just pulled up. And I was on the phone, and so I was sitting in the driveway for a little while. And it was a call that I needed to be on, I needed to make sure it wrapped up and not an abrupt ending. And so I was in the driveway for a little while, and I walked inside after I got off the phone, and Katie was like, "Why were you sitting in the driveway for so long?" I was like, "Well, I was on the phone. It was an important phone call that I needed to be on, and I needed to wrap up. And I just didn't think that it'd be fair for you to see the first thing that you saw after not seeing me all day is me on the phone and my finger up saying, 'Don't make any noise.'"
Yeah.
And so I'll always, if I'm on the phone, I will always wait until I'm off to go inside, because like they haven't seen me all day. They're excited to see me. I want them to always be excited to see me. And the last thing I want is for them to be like
No doubt. Yeah.
just got on a whole lot of weight. And so like those two things, I think,
For a child.
What was that?
I said it's probably deflating for a kid, because they're
Oh yeah,
they're
Dad,
ecstatic to
you're
see
here.
Dad come
Hey,
home.
shh.
Yeah, don't think of it.
No,
You're
sorry.
you're listening to DJ Shipley? You
No,
know who he is? He's a Navy SEAL guy.
Yeah.
And super popular, and
I think
um,
doesn't he have a book? What, like pretty famous book?
he's got to have a book. I
Yeah,
don't know if any SEALs.
I know I've heard the name, and I probably heard him on something. But yeah,
Yeah, he's got a great podcast. Anyway, he talks about going home, and it's like there's that time period of if no matter what happened, they aren't aware of that,
Mhm.
right? So it's like I take that 30 seconds when I get home to breathe, remind myself they don't know about the day that I just had, and they honestly probably don't care. It's their time, so I get it all out. So I walk through the door, they're seeing Dad, not the frustrated business guy.
Yeah.
And again, all things that if I say things, it's not like I've got this down to a T, but things that are in the back of my mind constantly to make sure like I'm trying my best to be a better dad every day.
Yeah, man, I think it's an energy boost. Like it's like an energy drink to just like walk in. You could have a terrible day. Like being in business, being in entrepreneurship, being in leadership, especially. I texted my wife one day, and it was one of those days, and I texted her, and I was like, leadership is walking into one meeting and everybody telling you how great you are, and then walking into a meeting right after and everybody telling you how bad you are, and not believing either one. And
there you go.
So like you could have one of those days where everybody's just like everything's happening that could happen, and you're the bad guy and you can't do anything right. And you could walk in that door and be exhausted from work, and then instantly I'm at 100 because like, man, this now you got your wife, your kids, they don't care. Like they don't care that nobody said yes today. They don't care that a deal fell through today. They don't care that somebody was mad at you today for something they probably shouldn't even be mad at. They just are excited that you're home, and hey, let's play. And it's like, okay, let's go. And so I think, that it's just like an energy drink, and you do have to kind of let that go. And I think it's easy to bring it with you, but it's so helpful if you can kind of separate that.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So what have we not touched on, Cale? I know we're kind of coming up on time. What have we not touched on that you do want to share? And then I've got like one or two more questions for you.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Fire away on the questions. I think we're hitting all the good stuff.
Awesome. So one thing that I always like to ask is like, let's say we're talking to another, dad professional in the real estate industry or regardless, like what's a piece of advice that you would give them, whether they're a brand new dad or experienced dad, or like what's like that one nugget that you're like, you know what, this is gold. This is something that you need to know.
Yeah, I think you have to find ways to slow it down. Again, everything is so fast paced. Everything is designed. You get it faster. You get these things delivered faster. Information is always free flowing to us immediately. And it's very, very hard to slow it down. A year can feel like a day, and a day can feel like a year sometimes. You know what I mean? So it's very important for my wife and I that we get out of our routine as often as we possibly can. There's one trip we make every single year, and it's a spot where once you leave kind of like the little where we stay, there's no more cell phone service, right? And I don't see the kids don't have the screens in their faces. I don't have the screen in my face, and we just get out and life slows down for a week. And that is incredibly special. Another emphasis my wife and I have made is trying to give our kids experiences versus things. And it's Christmas, we just got done with Christmas time, right? And you get caught up in the things. They don't really remember the things, but we took our kids to Norway a couple years ago. Yeah. For years after that trip, they would play dress up for Norway.
Cool.
it was like awesome to see how much that trip impacted. And it was like the gift that kept on giving, you know what I mean? So giving our kids experiences over things has been a big thing. And I would say that would be my advice for anybody who's a dad is don't worry so much about the things because they come and go.
Yeah.
If you just give your kids really good experiences, those are the things that they remember. That's super cheesy and corny. I get it, but it is very, very real.
Oh, it's so true. I mean, it's so important because you have those memories, and now, especially with how advanced phones and everything are compared to whenever we were kids. For every one picture that I had of me growing up, we've got 1,000 or more of our kids, right? And so they're able to go back, and even if like they were young, they still have seen the pictures, they've seen the videos, they have memories that maybe they wouldn't have had because it's hard to remember that young, but they've seen pictures and videos, right? And so you have those experiences, and that lives on forever, and that's so important. And also, it gives you the ability to be closer because you have those experiences together. So then, whenever you're not physically close anymore, if they go off to college, heaven forbid, which my wife says we're not talking about that, and then they still want to be close. They still want to come back because that's their like natural state. It's like if you have a piece of metal that's in its natural state, you can bend it, twist it, do whatever you want. But if you put heat on it, it goes back to its natural state where the kids are going to do the same thing. And that's, again, kind of going back to the sports. That's why I want them in sports and having adversity and pressure and I don't want to say busy, but like productive. We're very busy. We're very productive. We're going from work to hitting practice to gymnastics practice to meets to tournaments to, you name it. Very busy, very productive. You go off and now you're on your own. And if your entire life you've been busy and productive, and all of a sudden you're hanging around a bunch of people that your parents no longer have control over who you hang around, and they're not busy and productive people, it's going to feel weird and maybe not who you would associate with.
Sure.
And so like making sure that homeostasis, natural state is like what we want them to be at.
Absolutely, man. Because you know what? At the end of the day, we all fall back on habits. Right?
Yeah.
Whenever pressure mounts and I think we'd all want our children to fall back on really good habits. Mm-hmm. Sports teach really, really good habits if done correctly.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. All righty, sir. That's all I got for you today. We ran a little over on the time that I promised it would be, but I think it was so good. So I didn't want to cut us off, but I appreciate you, and we'll have to do it again sometime. But
absolutely.
Until next time, continue balancing hustle and home.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, Jason.
All righty, sir.